Kia ora, good evening. Well, a 4-month-old baby is caught in the middle of a row between his parents and Health New Zealand. He needs life-saving surgery, but his parents don't want him to receive blood from those who have been vaccinated. And now Health New Zealand wants guardianship. Dozens of the parents' supporters turned up at court, and Alice Wilkins was also there.
At the centre of all of this,
it's a freedom to choose,
is one tiny person, a 4-month-old baby.
He's stable at the moment, he's doing well, he needs an urgent operation.
Except progress to get that operation has come to a standstill as his parents engage in a standoff with Te Whatu Ora Health New Zealand in court.
The baby concerned obviously is really pretty much in uncharted territory at this stage.
The 4-month-old has the heart condition pulmonary valve stenosis. His case is severe and needs a procedure to allow blood to flow properly around his body. But his parents don't want the blood of those who've received a COVID vaccine to be used in his surgery. And while both vaccinated and unvaccinated people can donate to our blood bank, that blood isn't held separately.
By this stage, several weeks ago, a child with this condition would have been treated.
We need to have safe blood. That is our right as a mother and as my voice for my baby.
Now Te Whatu Ora has made an application to put the baby's guardianship into the court so surgery can go ahead, saying today in a statement, "We know that it can be worrying when parents have a child who is unwell and are making decisions about their care. The decision to make an application is always made with the best interests of the child in mind and following extensive conversations with whānau." But the baby's parents and their lawyer, known anti-mandate campaigner Sue Gray, say they have around 30 unvaccinated donors ready to provide blood for his surgery.
Where there's a solution, it would be really a shame that that solution be missed.
The ideal outcome would be that the blood bank would agree to collect blood from these donors and put it aside ready for this baby to have the operation that he needs.
A crowd of the family's supporters gathered outside the High Court. The medical fate of their baby put on pause until the matter is heard in court next week. Alice Wilkins, News Hub.
Well, let's ask Professor Nikki Turner, Director of the Immunisation Advisory Centre. Nikki, couldn't we solve this right now by taking some blood from one of these protesters and get that baby the surgery it needs?
No, we need to offer this baby safe, quality blood product. We can't just give the baby any blood off the street. The point of New Zealand's blood services is to ensure that people get blood that is safe for the individual, and that requires to match the blood type, and it also requires screening to make sure there's not any real threats in the blood, like viruses like HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C. You know, our blood products are really well controlled. You know, we're not in a war zone. We have to offer our baby good quality blood.
Is it going to cause a huge amount of extra problem for them? Is that why they're saying no?
No.
What? How have you avoided it causing any extra stress? What have you done?
What we've even done is we've organised all the donors. They're all ready.
The donors you've organised?
Yeah, we've organised all
Not
the
the
donors.
hospital.
How many is that, Sam? It's got to be...
We've got at least 20 plus.
Yeah.
This is O positive blood.
O positive, O negative paediatric donors
Paediatric blood.
who we've already screened. We've got them to do the sample test, so they've been screened.
They're all approved by the blood bank to be donors.
Can I just set this? They've got twin babies. We've got little Jethro here who's fine. We've got Will who's desperately in need of surgery. You've got children at home as well. You've got this little toddler. You are new parents to these twins, and you've done all of this. The hospital has not done it.
No, they won't do it.
If you wanted to, though, you could find out the blood type of these unvaccinated people and do the screening and then supply their blood to the baby.
Yes, you could do all of that, but it requires quite a lot of effort and quite a lot of process. And our services are under an enormous amount of strain. And you can't easily just do it for one individual. You know, we do this en masse for all our very ill and very needy people. So it is theoretically possible, and certainly when we have emergencies, we drop our quality standards. But we would not drop our quality standards when there's no medical reason to do so.
Surely we could do a one-off where we take the blood off an unvaccinated person, screen it, it doesn't matter that it's so hard, and just get some blood to this baby. We could actually do it.
Who we've already screened. We've got them to do the sample test, so they've been screened.
They're all approved by the blood bank to be donors.
You have some sympathy for these parents who, to be honest, just like any other parent, are doing what they genuinely think is the best thing for their child?
Look, I have enormous sympathy for these people, and they've got real reasons why they may not trust health services. You know, health services are not always right and don't always get it right. And all I can say to them is that from the bottom of our heart, the New Zealand health services are trying to offer the best quality service we can offer this baby.
So what would you like to see happen here?
Oh, look, I would really like to see people be able to sit down and work through where their fears and anxieties came from and really work them through. These things take a long time and require a lot of trust. So I think this is one example of how we need to try and build up trust again, you know, that our health services are here to help our people, not hinder them. And, you know, really sitting down with people these families trust and trying to work through where their fears have come from and how we can move through them.
Where is the humanitarian aspect of this hospital? Because I have to say, I was there with you in the meeting. I did not see it. I saw a doctor and a surgeon who marched out of that room in high dudgeon, in high offence, simply because politely we said, what is the block? Are you feeling you have, Cole, maybe you, have you felt they've been humane to you two as new parents?
Well, they could be better.
Yeah.
You know, who can tell what they're like? But I mean, we all know what's going on with people that have had that injection. Maybe that's half of it.
We know, like, I still have high regard for those doctors because they're brilliant at what they do. But there's a big block for us right now, and they're part of that block, and we just. So Blood Bank wouldn't even come to the meeting.
That's right.
They wouldn't even come to the meeting. They said they were going to send an email, and I think that's incredibly spineless and disgusting.
And disrespectful to you.
And unprofessional.
That we are talking a matter of life or death for this beautiful little soul.
That's exactly right.
Who is, you can see he's calm, he's like an old soul in a little body.
And the parents, are they comfortable, they trust the doctors and the surgeons to carry out this operation?
Yes, they do. Look, the baby was born with a congenital heart defect and it's already had one operation. They just want the best care for their child.
Okay, so they trust the medical science behind those surgeons carrying out that operation, yet they don't trust those same doctors who do trust the blood services' blood. Where is the logic in that?
Oh, there's a huge amount of logic. There's a lot of evidence, including from MedSafe, the New Zealand government regulator, about the harm or potential harm from the Pfizer vaccine. And indeed, we had a child.
No. I want an answer to the question that I asked, which so you trust the doctors, the medical science behind the operation. Those same doctors are not willing to cede to your request. They trust the blood from the blood service. They accept the truth, which is there's no risk here. Yet you're not willing to trust them.
That is not the truth. The truth is there's a huge amount of international research showing that there are factors in blood that can cause inflammation.
I'm sorry, Sue, but that is not the case. If we look at the Federal Drug Administration, the Canadian Blood Services Board, these have all found there is no issue here. We've got New Zealand's MedSafe, we've got the Blood Service, the Immunisation Centre. The overwhelming scientific evidence is clear. I don't want to have a discussion about the research because you and I are lay people. We trust the experts.
The reason we're in court is to have this discussion that needs to be had that nobody's been having. And I can give you a very simple reason why we need to have this discussion. Rory Meehan died from myocarditis following the vaccine. That's the report of the coroner.
Again, look, I'm a layperson like you are a layperson. We work in a system in a country that trusts experts. And I want to come back to the point. You trust the experts and the doctors to perform the operation, yet you don't trust those same doctors who are 100% confident in the blood.
They're not 100% confident. What they're saying is there's been no testing done on the blood, so they have no information to show any harm from the blood, but they haven't done any testing, and they have no testing to assess what factors are in the blood, what if there's any spike protein in vaccinated blood.
I'm just sorry, but the overwhelming medical advice and experts in this country that we live in is very clear that there isn't a risk. And I wonder, are you
But
concerned that this might...
You're not listening to what you asked me a question. You're not listening to my answer. I had a meeting with them yesterday. They confirmed at the meeting they have no way of measuring the blood to see what is in it. And we know that the factors from the vaccine, according to MedSafe's own website, can cause harm. It can cause inflammation, myocarditis. It can cause thrombosis. It can cause anaphylaxis. It can cause all sorts of problems.
Are you applying the same rigour to the other drugs that will be involved in this operation, the anaesthetic drugs, the other procedures?
This question is not about those. This question is about an identified...
But it is about that. It is about our faith in medical science, scientific method, research and institutions. I mean, 11 billion doses of this vaccine have been administered globally.
It's not scientific method to give a vaccine, effectively by an indirect route, give a vaccine that's not approved for people under 5 to a very vulnerable baby who's got contraindications for that vaccine. That is not scientific method.
None of this is passed on in the blood. But again, I want to come back to the point. You and I are lay people here. We live in a system that trusts
I have got a science background. I've worked in public health, and I've got contact. I'm in direct contact. I've been researching this and related issues for the last 2 years. I've got a huge amount of data.
That is, with the greatest respect, I'm sure you're an expert in the law, and as a lawyer, and I'm not an expert in the law, but we are lay people when we put our faith in medical professionals, and that is what we do. I want to come back to the other issue. Another issue here.
That is why people die. That is why, when you've got a very unique condition, it's important to do additional research because the doctors are busy. They know what's generally
come on, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not. No, we're not going to have that discussion. I want to come back to the other issue, which is the danger around a precedent here. Are you concerned that this is the danger here, and even having this interview, that there may now be somebody who goes to A&E and demands to have blood that is unvaccinated and puts their life at risk? I mean, this is crazy.
There's already been a number of people asking for unvaccinated blood. A lot of people have lost their job. They've lost their careers because they don't trust vaccinated blood and they don't trust the vaccine. So that's already happening. This is making no difference. What this is doing is getting some conversation about these important issues that need to be discussed.
There is no conversation to be had when the medical experts and the medical professionals in this country, in just about every country in the world, when the WHO are adamant there is no risk here. I mean, 11 billion people have had the dose of vaccine in the world. 11 billion. Are they all wrong?
Thousands have died. In New Zealand, I've just got an OAA. I think it's 47.
No, I'm sorry.
In New Zealand.
Thousands have died from COVID-19. I'm sorry. People have died from the virus, from COVID-19.
No. They've died from the vaccine.
That is not... There may well have been the
Information Act request that a lot of people in New Zealand have died after the vaccine, attributed to the vaccine from conditions that MedSafe recognise.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to entertain that argument because that is not correct.
Well, this is really difficult to have the conversation when you won't listen and when you won't look at the evidence. Because
the reason I'm sorry for interrupting, and you may think I'm being rude, but the reason I'm doing that is because, again, I trust the medical science, the people who will be performing that surgery.
We trust them as surgeons, but they're not experts on the Pfizer vaccine and the risks in blood. And I can tell you that for sure because there's a lot of research that we've got from around the world that these doctors were not even aware of until we started providing it to them.
Sue Gray, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for coming on. I do appreciate that. I'm sure people will have views on that interview. That is the lawyer acting for the family, Sue Gray.
What is there? Do you know what the blood bank's protest is? Why they will not?
They say there's nothing wrong with the blood that they're offering, and they say they've got machines that filter the blood. So that's what the doctor said. I don't know what the blood bank's saying at all because they haven't said anything to us. Yeah.
It is disgusting. And we had the surgeon this morning assuring me that it was, as far as he knew, it just was not even a thing that the spike protein was in the blood. And I asked him if he'd looked at Dr. John Campbell, and he said no, he wasn't even aware of him.
That's right, and that's a lack of knowledge anyway.
Well, a warm welcome to today's talk, Saturday, the 8th of October. Now, I'm getting lots of questions. Is it true that viral ribonucleic acid from the vaccines has been found in breast milk? And here's the answer here from this paper from a peer-reviewed medical journal of the American Medical Association, Detection of Messenger RNA COVID Vaccine in Human Breast Milk. So the answer to this question is yes.
Dr. McCullough, some people say, well, kids drop dead all the time of heart issues. I mean, you've been in this field for decades. You're a cardiologist. Is that true?
It's not true. We have data by Avolio and colleagues from Finland. Before the COVID-19 vaccines, there were 4 cases for myocarditis per million. It can happen with a parvovirus or another virus, 4 per million. The current estimates are now from a prospective cohort study from Bangkok, Thailand, 25,000 cases per million. 25,000 cases per million. Yes, Charlie, it's through the roof. Myocarditis at this point in time is due to the COVID-19 vaccines until proven otherwise.
I've been into fashion since I can remember. But one day I had a stomach ache so bad I didn't want to do anything. The team at New York Presbyterian said it was actually my heart. It was severely swollen, something called myocarditis. But doctors gave me medicines and used machines to control my heartbeat. They saved me. So now I can become the next great fashion designer.
Severe heart damage in otherwise healthy children? Oh, yeah, we've always had that. No, we haven't, actually. And Dr. Marty Makary was virtually alone in the medical community when he warned about the risks of this. He warned for months. In March, he wrote to the CDC and said, you've got a duty to, quote, rigorously study the long-term effects of vaccine-induced myocarditis. He was not celebrated for this. Of course, he was attacked, as always. Dr. Makary is a professor at Johns Hopkins and joins us tonight. Doctor, thanks so much for coming on and for sounding the call early. Is the idea going to be this is totally normal? It's always been this way?
Well, they famously downplayed it. The CDC director last year said if we vaccinate 1 million children, there might be 30 or 40 cases of mild myocarditis. And they said if you get myocarditis from COVID, that's worse or happens at a higher rate. But that's not true. The studies have come out. Europe reacted by banning the Moderna vaccine altogether in young people in many parts of Europe, and everybody under 30, and in other places, everybody under 40. The tragedy that we're now learning that there's significant heart damage, 31% of people having physical activity restrictions. The Seattle study, that 63% of children after myocarditis had evidence of heart swelling months down the road on MRI. So we were playing with fire. We didn't know what we were dealing with. They undercounted the complication rate, making the vaccine look safer than it really was, overcounting cases in young people and hospitalizations, making the COVID infection look more dangerous than it really was. And the tragedy is that we could have saved children from myocarditis. We could have protected this nation's children from myocarditis. We could have spaced out the vaccine instead of that narrow 3-week interval. No vaccine's given 3 weeks apart, and the myocarditis happens after the second dose. We could have let parents say, you know, if you only feel comfortable with 1 dose, it's okay to stop there. Instead, we put a gun to their head saying you got to come back in 3 weeks, and if you don't agree, you're in deep trouble. And we could have been honest about the risk. In healthy children, that risk is so low, it's lower than the risk of the vaccine.
It's shocking. If your child has heart damage at the age of 14, how is she going to do at 50? I mean, no one seems to be thinking about the future. You have, though, and we're grateful for it. Dr. Marty Makary of Johns Hopkins. Much appreciated.
Thanks.
Aaron Siri, we do FOIA requests. We keep requesting for the CDC to tell us how many children have actually died from coronavirus. And you know what they just recently said? They said we haven't really tracked the data on that. What are you talking about? You're telling us children are dying, which is why we need the vaccine, and yet you really haven't at the CDC tracked the amount of actual COVID deaths that are out there. But when we look at them, they're right around 1,000. I mean, depending on what sort of, database you're looking at, somewhere between about 850 and 1,300 children in the United States of America have died for COVID in the entire time COVID has been here. There are 75 million children in this country. If you have 1,300, that's a zero. That means technically 0 children are dying. You know, it's like 0.00 something. But also you have to recognize if it's only 850 to 1,000, that's obviously going to be your most sick children. If we look at this, I'm sure you're going to see that they were either suffering from leukemia or cancer or other life-threatening illnesses, just like the elderly that were dying of COVID. And so when we're giving a vaccine that we now know causes myocarditis in children at a level, and when we looked at the levels coming out of Israel where they vaccinated their children, what they discovered was in boys, you were 3 to 6 times more likely to end up in the hospital from myocarditis after the vaccine than you were to end up in the hospital after getting COVID. So we can say unequivocally that the vaccine is more dangerous to boys especially than the virus is itself. Yet we have a regulatory agency in the FDA and the CDC that are still promoting this vaccine in children. It should really be waking people up to the fact that there's something else going on here, discussions other than your child's health and your child's safety.
So what we've got is a situation that's urgent.
Yeah.
What do you need?
Super urgent.
What is it you need?
We only need a signature on a piece of paper, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, and that says that we can, you know, supply the blood that we require for the baby. You know, I mean, the baby has got a heart situation, and the heart is what pumps the blood. And then there's, you know, suspect things about this blood. Everyone knows it, but a lot of people are ignoring it. And he's got to have the best blood, you know. And I mean, it's everyone's right to, you know, choose what they have for their surgery, and we're not getting that respect out of these people.
This Prime Minister assured us this would never be forced on the New Zealand people. Yeah. She assured us that we wouldn't be forced to be jabbed, and having the baby get jabbed blood.
Yeah,
does
that's
that
right.
feel like it's a form of forcing the jab?
That is, well, exactly. But the thing is, even in our country with the ruin it is, you're not allowed to inject a baby of that age. But yet they'll put the baby into a situation where he may have blood that's come from someone that's had 5 injections. And so, you know, how does that
We're just
equate?
not willing to take a risk.
Yeah.
We can't take a risk with our baby who already has a heart condition.
And you are adamant that it's your right to choose.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it should be.
And it's a bigger picture too, that there's hundreds of people, you know, needing the same situation that don't want, you know, their wishes, you know, disregarded. So it's a bit beyond Will, even though that's our concern. You know, Will is needing the surgery, but there's so many others that are still going to be just forced to have this draconian, you know, institution, you know, put upon them.
Dr. Kirk, you have, and it's very significant, just finished at the Senate COVID-19 hearing from Ron Johnson. And how long have you been there, and what have you been learning there about how long this stays in the blood and how compromised blood transfers may be? What have you learned?
Well, I think so. There were a number of us that were all at the hearing with Senator Johnson. I think what we were trying to do is show how much that we don't know about the biodistribution of vaccines and how long the gene product is around and still producing spike protein. The most recent study out of the nature of the paper Cell showed that it was up to 60 days, but that's as long as they looked. I think the answer to a lot of these questions is we don't know, because this is a new gene product that hasn't been used before, and it escaped a lot of the classic regulatory checks and balances that are in place for almost all medical products. And so, but I think that, you know, the story with baby Will, what is so compelling about that is we try to do everything we can to walk a family through heart surgery for their child. We consider it a sacred honor when a family hands over to us their most prized, precious possession, and we take it to the operating room, and the whole team that is in there is going to take this child and stop their heart, put it on heart-lung bypass, correct the heart, and have the heart start back up. And that is an incredible achievement, but it's with risk. And so what we try to do is work with families as much as we can. And that's why I'm very thankful Dr. John Kupferschmidt is here, because we have worked with families. Let's say we don't necessarily agree and have the same beliefs that they do. But it's not our child and it's not our surgery. So a lot of times, and what's Dr. John Kupferschmidt has been very good about is working with families with Jehovah's Witnesses who are Jehovah Witnesses and don't want blood. They feel it is like their family member is getting raped if they receive blood. So we might not.
Could I say there, this is how Sam and Cole feel about baby Will having the jabbed blood that has been forced by a court order. That's exactly how they feel.
And to me, it really doesn't matter if we absolutely agree with them. What we're trying to do is walk this family through a very traumatic situation in their lives. This is, in a lot of ways, a loss of a dream, a healthy baby that gets to go home from the hospital. And so we're already in a very difficult situation for this family. Families often don't survive this kind of trauma in their marriages. And so we like to do everything we can to accommodate reasonable requests, even if, like I said, even if we might completely disagree with their requests, and it's not something we would do. But that's what I think is really interesting about this case, because a lot of it is that we don't know answers to the questions everybody wants. We haven't done all the studies. We don't have all the research, but we have a family here who's very concerned and obviously loves Will very much, right? They love Will more than anyone else does. Okay? So I give a lot of credence to what they want to do with their child and the freedom in that beautiful family unit of living their life the way they want to live it. What they're asking is not harmful to their child. In fact, if you look at the motive behind it, it is showing how much they care and are concerned about everything that goes into their child. I respect that. I don't even have to agree with it all, but I respect that.
Carl and Sam, it's really good to see you. We're doing a kind of daily update now for all the thousands. It turns out there are thousands in New Zealand who are supporting you and following you. Great. And overseas. My social media person was on Twitter last night and sent me a message saying, boy, as all the Kiwis are going off to sleep, thousands of people are sharing this overseas. And that was the appearance yesterday outside the court. Sam, your courage, how did you dig in and find that courage? You wanted to just walk out of the court and go home, didn't you?
Yeah. Ordinarily, I don't like being in the limelight, spotlight. It's not a comfortable place for me. So, but you know, this is, I suppose that's what you do as a parent, isn't it? You stand up when it is uncomfortable, and that's what we have to do.
If the case doesn't go your way and you can't have unvaccinated blood, would you still go ahead with care? What do you mean with care? Like, would you still allow your baby to have the operation?
No, that's why we're here. We're here to, we want the operation. Please don't twist my words.
No, I'm trying to clarify with
an operation.
Yeah.
We're desperate for an operation, but we need to have safe blood. That is our right as a mother and as my voice for my baby.
How do you strike a balance between the right to choose and your baby's life?
Well, it's both the same side. The right to choose. This is a really unusual case. The other cases that are medical guardianship cases have been where the parents don't want treatment for their child. This is a case where the parents want better treatment for their child than the state is offering. And it's gone down this path because we have a government and a blood bank that are not prepared to make available services that they can offer and that they offer in other situations. They're not willing to make those services available to this baby. So it's a really important case, and it's even more significant than that, because not only are they not offering those services, but they're saying, we know best what's good for your baby, and we want you to do it our way, and we are not even going to talk to you. We're going to go into the court, and we're going to try and get somebody from the court to gang up with us effectively and make you do what we want to do, because we're going to show you we're the boss. And that is not how New Zealand runs and the rights of the parents. These are amazing parents. I've been up in the hospital with them watching 2 babies, one sick baby and a 2-year-old, away from home, incredibly difficult situation for the Health New Zealand, the new government organisation, to put these parents in such an awful situation is just unbelievable. All they need to do is make available the New Zealand Blood Service to take the donor's blood. We've got 30 or so donors with suitable, compatible blood who are willing and able to make that blood available to this baby. They just need to say, okay, we're here to cooperate and to listen to our clients.
We have to continue to dig deep and stand tall for our boy, and for every, this, like we say, of course it started with him, but now it's about everyone,
It really is. Weren't you proud of her?
Oh, amazing woman. Love her. Love everything about her. She's just, a hero to humanity.
You really are, Sam. This is demanding a huge amount of you, a huge amount from you every single day. Let's not forget, we've just had a nurse in here saying it's extraordinary that you are still breastfeeding twins, that you're managing to do 2 at once. You are keeping that breast milk coming under such strain. So I'll tell you, I hoped yesterday as you walked off and we all clapped you, I went, I'm not even going to call them. I just want them to be together as a family, Sam to rest, have an early night, total peace, be with your babies. It didn't happen that way, did it, Sam?
No,
What
unfortunately.
happened?
Well, so we got a message, Sue got a message asking if we would meet to discuss how we can do direct-to-donor blood for Will, and I tell you, my heart skipped. I was so I thought, wow, really? Are we really already at this place? Are we going to be able to negotiate and move forward?
So we'll just talk that Sue Gray, your lawyer, and the judge in the court advised the lawyer for the other side to come to mediation, to be willing to listen to your side again, to be able to, willing to listen to your views, because Sue said outside the court, that baby could be operated on today. If they would sign this document releasing the unjabbed blood, it would be ready to go. So your heart skipped a beat. You thought, we're going to get the okay. They care more about Will than being right or the ego. Okay, what did you feel when you heard that you were summoned?
Yeah, we thought that's awesome. Maybe, there's some humanity being put into the picture. So we went along with, well, not high hopes, but we went along with some hope that, reason has taken control.
And let's not forget, this was, you said 5 or 5:30 at night?
It was 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. What's your feeding time at night with the baby?
It's about, well, going from like 4:30 onwards is usually pretty chaotic with these guys.
When I heard later last night that you had that happen, Sam, I was horrified as someone who's been a mum. You don't disturb a mother's feeding routine with her babies, with one baby, not with 2, let alone 2. But you'd also had this massive day. It almost felt again like some kind of slow torture of you. I just can't see a hospital that really cares about a mama doing that. That just felt wrong on every level. However, what was it like, Cole, when you walked into the room?
Well, there was, clinical precision in there. The interesting thing was that no one had masks on, which we thought was really strange, since there hasn't been a meeting where anyone has not had masks on apart from us until that point.
What did you read into that? What did you think that might indicate?
It may have indicated that there could have been some decency arising.
Some softening from the
slightly
ideology.
Well, I mean, that's what you could read into it.
Oh, he gave me a smile. He said, no.
He likes you. It's okay.
I love you, Will. So, through all of these odds, which shouldn't even be in existence, should they, Will? What should be happening is it's easy to communicate with the family. They can talk to anybody they like at any time. They shouldn't be asked to nighttime meetings. And little Will should be having his operation today or first thing tomorrow, because the Prime Minister and the blood bank have released the unjabbed blood. That's what should be happening. Okay, so let's go back to this. You went into the room, Cole.
Yep.
And what was it like? The masks were off and you thought maybe they're going to be kind.
Well, you kind of knew they weren't. But, you know, so we were just not talked at, but we all respected, I suppose me and Sam respected everyone in the room. So I don't know whether there was respect in return from that case. There is from the surgeon. She respects us, and we know that she's sort of powerless to be able to make any decision, and that doesn't sound right anyway, because she's the head surgeon of this entire, unit.
Sounds odd, doesn't it? Very odd.
And so then we listened to what was said to us, and the conclusion that we draw is they won't do it, but they can do it, but they just won't do it. Because they never told us why they couldn't do it, they just told us they wouldn't do it. And we outlined that we've got multiple blood donors of the correct thing, the correct blood types.
After that meeting last night, I know you well enough now to know you were really upset by that sandwich.
Yeah.
It was how did you find the woman from the blood bank? I want you to be honest. I want you to be honest. As a patient, as someone going through hell, as a woman who'd been in court in the morning, who should have been left alone with her babies, how did you find it?
I found her approach to us cold, detached, and completely, like Cole said, she just kept looking at her watch. I mean, I appreciate she's a very busy woman.
I don't. She didn't have to do that meeting last night and put you under stress.
Well, that was the first time that we'd seen her, and we've been doing that's our 4th meeting now. So it would have been nice to have seen her maybe at the 2nd meeting or the 3rd meeting, but I felt that she really didn't she was actually very condescending to a lot of the things that we said.
Yes.
She laughed when I said, she goes, "Oh, is that the only thing you're worried about? What about the risks of transfusion?" I said, "We know there is risks. We know. We're not questioning that. We're not questioning the surgeon. We're not questioning any of those things. We're questioning
the quality of the blood."
That's right. So I felt she was quite, sort of condescending a lot of the time to us as parents.
That must have been a nightmare at the end of your day. Did you feel anything came out of it that offered something positive?
And I was sitting there thinking, why are we here?
Yes.
Because
waste of time.
We're going, we're not even going round in circles.
That's not mediation.
No, there was no mediation.
Yeah.
Just telling you. And did you talk much, either of you? Or was it mostly
a tiny bit?
You were expected to listen?
We got our say about what we wanted, but then it was your say is not a scientific say. It's a thing. Well, it's your concern, but it's not our concern.
Kia ora, good evening. Well, a 4-month-old baby is caught in the middle of a row between his parents and Health New Zealand. He needs life-saving surgery, but his parents don't want him to receive blood from those who have been vaccinated. And now Health New Zealand wants guardianship.
Cole, it is 11:32. What has happened? What has happened in the hospital, in the place that Sam and the babies were meant to be safe?
Well, they were never safe here, and we realised that a long time ago. And it's all played out tonight that they were never safe. What happened possibly a couple of hours ago was that police people came into the room in our hospital room when we were preparing to bed down for the night, and the babies were sleeping peacefully, which we thought was really unusual. And they came there saying that they were there because the hospital had made a complaint against us. And allow the baby to sleep or have his pre-op checks before a surgery that's scheduled and that can't be changed. Well, it can be changed.
I think so baby needs as much rest as possible so that he can...
Excuse me, what are you doing?
No, don't do that, boys. Hey, don't do it.
Please don't do it.
Hey.
We're talking about the surgery.
You guys are criminals. You are criminals. You are conducting a criminal act here. Then it proceeded to that they were telling us that the baby's scheduled for surgery, and they are going to be preparing to operate on him at 8 o'clock. We said, no, that's not appropriate. The baby needs sleep. The baby's going for a major heart operation. If you're going to go ahead against our will and perform, a surgery, then the baby needs a great night's rest, just like anyone would before an open heart surgery. They said that was never going to be possible. We conducted ourselves with, decency, and we tried our hardest as human beings to convince these people that there was a crime about to be committed. One of them had to leave because he was overcome with emotion and tears. Then the other one proceeded to tell us what was going to be happening, and we just said, hey, if you're a decent human being and a man, you will go away and conduct an investigation into the findings of the court that there's a problem with the blood products that were being proposed to be used in this operation, that they would not sway from 8 o'clock in the morning, even though no pre-surgery checks had been made at that time. And we were saying, hey, the baby is about to have open heart surgery according to what you're saying. He needs a night's sleep. That waste of time talking went on for an hour. Then the one policeman that was remaining, a person dressed up as a policeman, I couldn't say that he was a real policeman, he went away and said, I'll go and negotiate with the hospital staff and get what you require. Then maybe 20 minutes later, he came in with the guy that had been not able to compose himself. They were both these fellows were dressed up like policemen, and then they proceeded to say what would be an acceptable time to Sam, because I was telling them the entire time that no time is acceptable. We've had a second opinion from very experienced cardiovascular surgeons that this operation is totally being able to be postponed, and not indefinitely or not even for a long time, but until an investigation into the court's findings can be conducted. So that was my stance. Then they were saying to Sam, well, no, we're not going to listen to the time that you're proposing. We're going to wake the baby in the middle of the night, and we're going to, do the pre-surgery checks on him then. And so Sam was saying, no, that's not a good idea. He needs as anyone, before an open heart surgery would need a reasonably perfect sleep. So in the middle of a pre-meeting that we were having, more police people came into the room violently and snatched the baby up out of his crib. They manhandled the baby. They surrounded myself and Sam so that we couldn't get to the baby. Not going to allow the baby to sleep or have his pre-op checks before a surgery that's scheduled and that can't be changed. Well, it can be changed.
I think so baby needs as much rest as possible so that he can.
Excuse me, what are you doing?
No, don't do that, boys. Hey, don't do it.
Please don't do it.
Hey.
We're talking about the surgery.
You guys are criminals. You are criminals. You are conducting a criminal act here.
So with the pre-op check, it needs to happen before the surgery.
Hey,
it happen tomorrow.
We've been talking to you like rational people, and now you just remove. You guys are. You are criminals. You.
Oh my God! How can you do this? Oh my gosh! Get out of my way! Get out of my way!
Hey, guys, move out! Move out the way!
I need to see.
You guys are acting like criminals! You are acting like criminals! All of you are criminals!
Hey guys, calm down, please.
You are criminals! You are a criminal, you are a criminal, and you are a criminal, and so are you, and so are you!
Can you guys just give them some space, please?
You are a criminal!
Okay,
You will not be part of the surgery tomorrow. We do not authorise any of that.
I just want to tell you what's happening.
No, we're not listening to what you got to say.
Why did you do that? He's going to be okay.
No, he is not going to be okay.
And we need to take him for his we need to take him and we need to do
You are criminals.
You will be able to see him after the surgery.
You guys are criminals. You are going to be recorded in the annals of time as criminals who come in here and take babies from their mothers. Do you understand that? Do you guys even listening to me? Do you understand that you have just kidnapped a baby from its mother without the consent of their parents? You guys have got to understand that you're criminals.
And we need to do the surgery.
But you can't just take my baby like that.
You guys are criminals. You've got to realise that you are now involved in a criminal action.
Did you not see his eyes?
We need to do the operation so that
No, you do not need to do the operation.
Please.
No, you do not.
Jude, please, can I just go down with him?
Hey, we can give you some time in here. Okay?
Hey, we don't need any time. You guys are criminals.
Josh, please, excuse me. I just need to be.
You guys need to get out.
Please.
I'm listening to you.
No, you're not.
Please.
You're not listening.
You can't do that. I just need to be with him. I will go with him. You can do what you need to do, but I need to be with him because he needs to be with his mother. Please.
Mate, show your humanity.
Please.
Show your manness.
Please. I just need to.
We will talk to the hospital staff. Okay. Now,
hey, what good's that going to do?
Shush. You can't just rip him out of the bed like that, please.
The hospital staff has taken the baby for the pre-operation checks. Okay.
Yeah.
Against our will.
Shush.
That is in line with the order of the High Court. And they're doing what they need to do now tonight for the operation tomorrow.
I just need to be next to him. Please.
It's not.
Please.
We're prepared to work with you in that, but
Thank you.
we really need to
Shush.
We need to be able to converse like we are now.
Can I just be there with him? You can do all of that stuff, but I need to be there with him.
Yeah, but and that's something we can negotiate with the hospital.
Okay, let's do it.
But
Come on, let's go.
Yeah, but listen, but in terms of what's going on, hey, look, know that I'm a parent too, and I don't pretend to know what you're going through at the moment. But I can't imagine that, what you're thinking at the moment and what you're going through.
If any of you are real men, you wouldn't have conducted yourself like this.
She's going to see if she can get you with her. Just okay.
Real men don't act like this.
She's going to sit down.
Are you guys hearing what I'm saying? Real men don't act like what you've just acted like.
She's going to see what she can do.
Let's have an intelligent conversation. Throwing insults isn't going to work.
Hey, I'm not insulting you. I'm telling you the truth.
Honestly, that's lucky.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. And like I said, we're prepared to work with you to make that happen.
But you weren't.
Can we just go now then?
You weren't prepared to work with us from the very beginning.
You can't go where they've gone right now.
Why not?
Sam, she's talking.
We will talk through it, okay?
You know that nurse is crying too because you know this is so wrong.
Know that everyone involved in everyone in this room is upset about the situation. I don't want to be here as much.
Well, you don't have to be here.
Fucking badger. That's what you need to be doing.
Yeah.
Standing on this side. It's fucking ridiculous.
Hey guys,
you need to chuck your badge in.
you hand it in right now and you'll have some decency inside you. Walk out the door and you show what you are.
Okay, it's okay. We just need to be next to him. Oh.
You knew that was going to happen. They got no humanity. So let's go down there.
No, just wait. I don't want to. I just need darling, just let me just go down there. I just need to be next to him.
Okay. Just stay here. The nurse is going to see what she can do. Can you just... I know that's real hard doing this one, so you can...
No.
Sam, it's not going to get anything. The cop just said that it will, because I said chuck your badge in and come on our side, we will fundraise for you because he's got a family to feed. And I said, I promise you we will get you enough money. He said he's going to do better, him staying in that job. So I hope it does mean something.
Well, it doesn't.
Not right now, but let's just hope he comes through.
These men are acting like subhumans. Hey, well, everyone, I don't know where this goes to around the world, but you know, our baby has just been medically kidnapped. Thugs have come in wearing police uniforms and they've ripped the baby out of his bed and violently taken him out of the room. They've threatened to arrest us all if we even pursue our baby. So let this be a lesson to the entire rest of humanity, is the takeover has actually started, and it started in a hospital ward with a baby. So I could have tried to do something, but I would just be in handcuffs on the floor getting beaten right now. So, you know, I call on humanity to arise, because this is, you all know what's happening.
At 11:30 at night for a 4-month-old baby who has never been away from his mother. Please tell me, Cole, tell us all that these monsters at least let the mother he is always next to go with him, because that baby...
No, they didn't. They didn't let the mother go with him.
No.
So the mother is Sam, you know, that patriotic woman is screaming and distraught and crying and begging.
No.
She is being restrained. And then she is now somewhere in the facility, but she's not with the baby.
This is major medical kidnapping, traumatizing, brutalizing. Not even an adult could get through a major piece of heart surgery, being ripped open, awake at night, open from sleep, when that little baby, of all babies, he's so fragile, he needs a good night's sleep. So was there any humanity from any of these monstrous people?
No humanity. No. So, hey, everyone out there, this is what you're dealing with now. You're dealing with a regime that comes in and snatches babies in the middle of the night because the parents have a gut feeling that there's a problem. Then they're put before the court. The problem is established in a court of law, and then the judge makes a corrupt decision, and then meets in urgent court proceedings to clarify and re-clarify his findings, so that they legalize medical kidnapping of a baby at 11:30 at night to go and perform what is in all essence a medical experiment on him, because, you know, that is what has happened. There is untested products that they're going to be using in the operation. I mean, the operation is a straightforward operation, but there's untested products that have been found in court to be having a major problem, and they're going to perform an operation using those products against everyone's will, against the people of New Zealand's will, against the people of the world's will. They will operate on this baby without him having any rest. So you wonder what sort of draconian society this world has become when that happens.
A baby going into an operation of that magnitude with a mother who will be stressed beyond belief. The baby will feel the mother's stress. The baby will be stressed. I don't want to upset you anymore, Cole, but just the inhumanity on so many levels, the lack of healthcare. I have found the people, particularly a woman, Lara, in that hospital, quite brutish. I mean, she would have fitted well in Auschwitz. I found some very brutal people in that Starship hospital. And I had decided a month ago I'll never stand for politics in this country. It's just a horrific thing full of liars and cheats. But by God, I will stand now, and we will have a Royal Commission of Inquiry, and every single one of these people, every single doctor, every single nurse who has been part of this brutalizing of Sam, this horrific criminal activity tonight, I will absolutely bring them before that Commission of Inquiry, and if necessary into a court of law to be put up on charges. And those police, you too will be put up on charges. That is kidnapping. And I know that one who broke down, he will be haunted till the day he dies. I've said this before. Criminal activity, whether you wear a police uniform or not, is still criminal activity, and what you have done, all of you, is so wrong. So where do we go from here? We have to steel ourselves, recollect ourselves, we will get this around New Zealand. But Cole, this little baby, Will, is surrounded by love, by the love of New Zealanders, by, I believe, a very angelic, very powerful force from beyond. A very beautiful light comes out of him. I believe he will be utterly protected. I believe that he will be safe through this. And I would say to those doctors, the pressure on you now, if there is 1 ounce of wounding to this baby, this country will absolutely have you up on charges. So the pressure on the doctors who are allowing this inhumanity is enormous.
Tēnā tātou katoa, good evening. The baby at the centre of a blood row has been given the heart operation he needs, but only after intervention from a High Court judge and police.
What are you guys doing?
I'm very tired. I haven't slept yet, so.
Oh, you need some rest, Mom.
I need some rest. We're going to get some sleep soon.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You guys,
I love you. Thank you.
do you guys have any updates for us on?
Oh, yeah, we just saw Will. He's doing good.
Oh, good.
He's doing good, yeah.
Oh, thank God for that.
Thank God for that.
Oh, yeah. And
So he's had the operation.
Yeah, they've done what they were going to do,
Yeah.
even though it was against our wishes. Well, you know, we're trusting God that, you know, God's greater than they are, which is exactly how it is. So we just see what happens from now on, eh? You know, I mean, hey,
Yeah.
we'll just let things quieten down, and then we know where we are.
Yeah. And it's not over.
Yeah.
no, it's not going to
Do
be.
you reckon they cleaned
the blood or what?
Well, we'd like to think that they can't stand that there is a problem with the blood. So what we've been hearing from legitimate sources is that 2 days ago, you know, blood was taken from people that were not injected.
I don't think you should say that right now.
Well, of only Will's blood type.
Okay.
We've had some
we'll
interesting news. Let's just say that, but we've just got
I know
nothing
we
to.
can clarify that a bit later, you know, to be sure. But at the moment, he's alive, so that's the main thing.
But you know,
That's the important part.
yeah.
Well, Papa Bear, go Papa Bear.
I have a question. How long ago did you ask the hospital for a source of blood that you appointed?
Well, it would be more than 4 weeks ago.
4 weeks ago. So why were you denied your own choice of blood source? What's the reason they gave?
That has never been, you know, answered. So they
what is
said,
the answer?
well, we don't know. The answer that they gave was that we will not do that for you.
2 years ago, I had an operation and I chose a blood donor of my own choice. In fact, I was encouraged by my surgeon. So I don't understand why suddenly now this is being denied people.
Well, it's been.
This is the main point that must be made, I think.
Since the virus talk, you know, had arisen, that's when they withdrew the blood donor services.
When?
Since the virus situation.
Yeah.
What, by act of Parliament or on a whim?
By the blood bank.
What, on a whim?
Well, we don't know. We don't know why.
No act of Parliament at all.
Yeah, no.
Right. Well, that's unlawful.
Well, there's lots of things that are going on that
I'm
are
glad everyone
unlawful.
else
We all
is
know
doing
that.
okay. Look at him.
There's no, I can see no
Cute as a
just
bud.
as to why you would be, or no just reason why you should be denied your request. I mean,
That's right.
Your rights extend to the child.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
If I had the same right 30 years ago, why do you not have the same right now? Why do they?
We don't know that.
Why
Because
do they
that would mean them admitting that vaccinated blood is contaminated.
Not necessarily. They've drawn attention to it by doing this.
Yes.
What they could have done, they simply could have respected your rights. You didn't even have to give a reason. They could have just respected your rights.
Respected our rights at the end.
Get the babies out.
Yeah.
You guys, we love you guys.
Thank you so much for all your support, guys.
And we're going to continue to support.
Oh, he's doing amazing. Yeah, he's doing so well. He's meeting all his milestones. He's crawling. He's
strong.
Yeah. Very, very strong.
Eating well.
Yes, but yeah, we're going to get rid of that tube
He's
really
exploring
soon.
food.
Yeah, because this must block the throat with the solids going down. It must make it quite hard, does it?
It appears to. Like, he really wants to eat food. He really, really does now, doesn't he, darling? He's getting really interested in food, but he tries and then he gags, and it's a bit messy.
Is there any help to get them off these tubes in New Zealand?
Oh, my word.
No help at all. They want to continue you on in their care for a long time. Yeah.
And they would just leave this on?
Well, it goes to a stomach tube next.
Which is surgery.
Yeah.
So
more chopping.
which would be at Starship because of the history of cardiac problem. So I was like, no way, we are not. We need some steps to get him off this tube. And their answer to that was, oh yeah, well, if he's going to do it, he'll do it. And I'm like, no, he's completely dependent now, because that's the way that the brain works. If you get fed in a certain way, then it just
the natural reflexes don't have to take over.
That's right.
That makes perfect sense.
They talk about the hunger hormones, so they are actually switched off in a baby that's tube fed. Yeah, so they never feel hungry, so they don't have that drive to really feed like a baby like this.
So we've got to have his brain reconditioned so that he knows he needs to feed rather than be just, oh well, I'm sorted.
And this is parental intuition at play, but it's combined with research, as you both always do. And you've talked to some people in America, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right. So we did extensive research to find out who
You did?
I did, yeah. To find out who could help. What are the steps, what are the logical steps to get him off the tube? And, and I just kept coming to a brick wall. And then a friend of mine said...
Here in New Zealand?
Yeah. A friend of mine said, look, there is an agency over in America. So I contacted them, I looked them up. They've got amazing testimonials, really, really encouraging. It's called GIE, or Growing Independent Eaters.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So top quality, good advice.
Absolutely. So you're working with a dietitian, a parent coach, and a speech language therapist. Yeah. And they're just amazing. So yeah, we're going to go down that route.
And that costs a bit of money, doesn't it, Sam?
That's the only thing. It's very expensive. And I suppose for us as Kiwis, because our healthcare is, well, supposedly our healthcare is all free. When we think of having to pay for something, we're like, oh, but for them in America, you have to pay for your healthcare. So for them, it's not really.
It's nothing for them. It's just like routine.
Yeah,
that's what happens.
Yeah, and it took us quite a while to actually accept and think, is there another option? And we just thought, no, there isn't.
There's literally no equivalent of that in New Zealand. There's no organisation.
No.
So there's a big gap there.
Yep.
But,
Massive.
you never ask me to ask for money for you. Never once have you asked for this, but I'm going to ask New Zealand and around the world, please can you put funds into the account we'll put up at the end, so that baby Will can come off this tube, so he can get back on being fully breastfed with all the attendant immune benefits for him, immune system. He is breastfeeding a bit, isn't he?
Yeah. So he starts out breastfeeding, and then he has the top up of Express breast milk. Yeah.